Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Shield, and this is Finding the Guardian of Your Soul. It is such a pleasure to be here today. It is a beautiful day in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I am in the process of redoing my office. So you can see that all of my furniture has been cleared out, and yeah, it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous day. And I hope you're having a beautiful day as well. So, today we're going to talk about spark first or flame later, exploring the chemistry conundrum in relationships. So, I think most of us have been led to believe that when we meet somebody, there is going to be intense chemistry, right? You're just going to look across a crowded room and you're going to lock eyes with somebody and light up and think, oh my gosh, like there's something special here that I want to explore. I've done it many times myself. I've fallen for that. And um, I don't think there's anything wrong with that kind of connection. I've been down that road, but I don't think it's the basis for a lifelong love, right? It's really chemistry. And chemistry is not logic, it's not reason, it's not even emotion. It really goes back to our animal nature that when we see somebody and we have that kind of immediate connection, sparks are flying and we feel this really immediate and intense connection. I now know after 60 years on the planet that that is not the best way to start a relationship with somebody. So, in my younger days, I fell for that many, many, many times. And the problem is that when you're young, and especially like when you're hormonal, Mother Nature just wants us to connect with somebody, and procreate. That's really what chemistry is all about. It really is just hormones and two people who are really connecting with the potential of propagating the species. When I finally started to unravel this in in my late 30s, early 40s, and I started to look at all of the bad relationships I'd had, it made me start to realize that this chemical attraction wasn't really a good thing and that I needed to stop and figure out a different way of connecting with men. So I'm going to pause for a second and go shut the door because my dogs are going to bark. Hang on. Honey? Whoops. All right, guys. All right. I don't know if that's going to help or not, but I really want to warn you, especially those of you who are younger, that this is something you want to start to reevaluate. I know a lot of mythology, a lot of the romance novels we read really tell us to look for chemistry. And probably 90% of the women I work with, when they first come into my program, they will say to me, Lisa, I know immediately whether I'm attracted to someone or not. And that sends off alarm bells for me because the truth is, no, you don't. And if you're following that chemistry, that initial spark, and that's what you're looking for in relationships, you're going to find yourself having one disappointing relationship after another. So, the very first thing that we do when people work with us is we have them read a book about attachment theory. And attachment theory goes, it's a psychological concept that there are different ways that people attach, especially in romantic relationships. And it describes why we pick the partners we pick. So there are 3 different attachment styles, predominantly. There are some others, but just in its purest form, there are people who are anxious, people who are avoidant, and people who are secure. Very, very often, when you have that chemistry, 2 people looking across a room and connecting and sparks flying, you often have what is called an anxious avoidant relationship. You have 2 people, one of those people is anxious, which means when that person gets into a relationship, they start to feel a lot of anxiety. And that chemistry can actually be anxiety, not some kind of special connection. It can actually be anxiety, which is what nobody tells you. The romance novels don't tell you this. Nobody tells you, your girlfriends, your mother, they're not telling you that that is your anxious attachment style. Women more than men tend to be anxious, although there are plenty of men who also get very anxious when they start to attach. And then you have what are called avoidance. Avoidance are those people who, once somebody tries to attach to them, they're all fine and good in the beginning, right? They come on strong, they're romantic, they express interest. And then the minute the other person starts to attach, they run the other way. And so that's an anxious avoidant attachment. And what's really funny is these relationships can go on and on and on. They can be volatile. They can be, really toxic, but they can also have like a lot of high highs and low lows. Maybe some of you have been in relationships like that. And it can feel like you're on a roller coaster. Once it starts going, it just has a life of its own. And it doesn't feel great. It feels good when you're, on that high, but you always know that that low is coming, that something will set the other, set one of you off, and it'll go south. And a lot of times these relationships, you come together, you break apart, you come back together again, and it's filled with a lot of emotions, a lot of highs, lows, whatever, but it's never stable. What's really, really, really hard for many people to wrap their brains around is the idea of a relationship that doesn't have those extreme highs and those extreme lows, but still is connected, romantic, passionate, playful, fun, exciting, but not a kind of manufactured, artificial, chemical, hormone-induced intensity, but a relationship between 2 mature, self-aware people who actually understand how to connect. What I often find is, because, it's interesting, we were having a call with our mastermind group last night, and the question I asked the women was, if you could stretch right now in this part of your life, what would that stretch be? What would be a stretch in your love life? And probably half of the women said that they wanted to feel calmer in their relationships. They really had a hard time in that period of really getting to know somebody, especially in the beginning. They would feel extremely anxious and insecure, and they wanted more peace, more equanimity, more calm in that period, and that was really where they needed to stretch and not kind of go off the deep end and start overthinking things and get anxious and then push the guy away if he was a secure guy. And, a lot of times I don't think we realize that that anxiety, even with a guy, well, guys who are avoidant, they're going to ghost or they're going to run when you try to attach to them. But the guys that are really secure, a lot of those men, and you may not even realize it because they may never tell you why they didn't ask you out again, but those guys are going to pick up on your anxiety and they're going to be gone. And it doesn't matter how beautiful you are or how educated or successful or whatever, that anxiety will sabotage things. Now, it's easy when that happens to say to yourself, oh, okay, well, that guy was avoidant. A lot of the women, who I work with want to do that. They just want to label all of these guys as avoidant. But the truth is, you don't know. You don't know if it was your anxiety and some secure guy, picked up on it and was just like, nope, no chance in hell, I'm out of here. Or if you pushed, or if you triggered some guy's anxiety or his avoidant behavior. So until you get a handle on your own anxiety and calm down and are able to navigate this calmly, you will never know, and you'll never ever be able to build a really beautiful, secure attachment with a secure man and have your choice of men. So when I was turning 40 and I was assessing in my love life and why I was still single, I started to look at all the behaviors that I thought would be about women that would be unattractive to men. I started to think about all the things I saw women doing. And then I thought, if I were a guy, would these things attract me or would they turn me off? And I started to develop the opposite behaviors. And one of the things that I started to do was, instead of just jumping in and fixating on one guy I liked, I realized that it would be much healthier for me to date several men at once and not just over focus on one guy, but to be bringing new men into my life so that if one guy did fall off, I had other men that I could keep dating and I didn't have to get bent out of shape or feel anxious. And that really did help me mitigate some of the anxiety I was feeling. I also learned how to ask for what I wanted in a very non-demanding way, a way that wasn't needy or anxious or insecure, but just, hey, I would love it if you could do this, or it would be wonderful if, we could spend the weekend together or plan a date in advance. That would be really, really great. So I started to learn how to ask for what I wanted and needed because I realized that a lot of my anxiety was driven by the fact that, I was bottling up all of my needs. And then I was building up all of this resentment and frustration towards men. And there were things that I really wanted. And I realized that these men couldn't read my mind. And so I had to ask if I wanted to get the things I ultimately wanted in a relationship. So I started to learn and practice and go on dates and started just asking. And if a man said no, or if he wasn't able to do it, that was fine, but I started to actually see that by asking for what I wanted, the men that weren't willing to give it to me, they disappeared. And the ones who did, actually would do those things for me. And then I actually started to feel more attracted to them. Do you get that? And so instead of just waiting for guys to chase me or read my mind or whatever, the more I was able to say, it would be lovely if, or you would be my hero if you could do this, or it would be wonderful if we could talk to each other during the week. I know we're seeing each other on the weekends, but it would be lovely if we could just connect during the week. You know, I'd love to hear the sound of your voice. By doing that and asking for what I wanted, I was actually inviting men to come closer to me. I was giving them the invitation to come closer by asking for what I wanted. And when they honored my requests, it made me feel special. It made me feel cherished and adored and all. And it made me feel closer to them. So, this is something that also helped with my anxiety. And I found it very empowering to be able to do that and actually start to see that there were men that wanted to make me happy and that wanted to do lovely things for me. So this was really, really wonderful. Um, Somebody asked, how can you spot avoidant behavior early on? Well, a lot of times, not always, but very often, men in particular, I'm just assuming this is a woman, but somebody with avoidant attachment, uh, with an avoidant attachment style will come on very hard, very fast, very strong. And there's a difference between a man who's confident and is pursuing you and he's pacing himself, and a man who's just what they call love bombing you. So a love bomber or an avoidant will really be over the top. It will feel like too much too soon. Some women make the mistake of thinking it's romantic and, oh my God, this guy knows what he wants and this is what I've been looking for and he's so excited and he's pursuing me and, you know, he's coming on so strong and I love this. Don't make that mistake. If a man is coming on too strong right at the beginning and it's too much too soon, something is wrong. Nobody knows you that well right from the get-go. Nobody. You cannot assume that two people, no matter how much chemistry they feel or how much they like each other, there is so much more to a loving, lasting relationship than just, oh my God, we had the most amazing date. I think I met my guy. You cannot be that naive. You cannot be that naive. You are making one of the most important decisions of your life when you choose a partner, and especially when you choose the man that you are going to marry and have a family with. And you really have to pace yourself and take time to get to know each other. Relationships take time. Now, you may really like somebody and have a lot in common and think, wow, there's really, isn't it amazing, you know, how much similarity there is here, how much we have in common. But you don't know how that person is going to respond in the middle of an argument, when things go bad, if he has a bad day, if he loses his job. You need time to see how this person really does life. And you cannot make assumptions. You have to sit back and wait and watch and listen and learn before you just give your heart to anybody. The level of naivete I see in relationships and how people rush in without really just giving this real time. And I'm talking about, you know, our women, they don't say I love you or even get offline or have sex with guys for 2 to 3 months. And we're talking about 2 to 3 months of really getting to know somebody. And during that time, they're still dating other people and they're, keeping their options open while they get to know this man. He may be rising to the top and he may seem like different from all the other men they've dated and all. We also want our clients we also want our clients to date a lot and to get experience and to meet a lot of different kinds of men, right? Because 99% of the women who go through my 12-week emotionally naked dating program, they will come back and say, Lisa, he is not my type. I mean, he's a great guy. I'm very attracted to him, but this is not the kind of man I ever would have chosen before I worked with you. He is completely different than anyone I've ever met in my life. And the truth is, most of these women have never dated a secure man. And they will say that. It's like, oh my God, in my whole life, I've never dated a secure man. He's confident, he's grounded, he has boundaries. He tells me what he wants. He's not afraid to say no to me. And yet he shows up. He's consistent. I never have to worry if he's going to call me or text me or, if we're going to see each other again. So it's a completely different kind of connection. It's a completely different kind of relationship with a completely different kind of person. And it starts out in a different way. So the kind of relationship I'm talking about, the guardian of your soul relationship, the first date may not be so exciting. You may go on your first date and you may think, he's a nice guy. I mean, I'd go out with him again, but, it's not like there were skyrockets, right? And then the second date, it's like, he's kind of growing on me. And 5 or 6 dates in, it's like, wow, there's something here. And it grows. It doesn't start out way up here and then come crashing down. It builds from the ground up slowly over time. And it gets deeper and richer, and you find yourselves sharing more and more, getting more and more emotionally naked with each other. This man will say things to you like, I've told you things I've never told another woman. I've opened up to you in ways I never have with any other woman I've been with. And he will say, I love how calm you are. I love how present you are. I love how you make me feel like a man when I'm with you. And he'll make you feel like a woman, safe and secure and not wondering about whether or not the other shoe is going to drop. So as far as I'm concerned, many people look for the spark first. I really encourage you to wait, to watch, to listen, to look for those men who are lovely men who do not come on hard and fast and strong. Those men who pace themselves, they come on slowly and they build, they gain momentum. But the ones that keep showing up, who are secure, who are lovely men, and give those guys a chance. Now, I want to put a little bit of an asterisk here. There are plenty of nice guys who do not have boundaries and backbone. And if you're dating a really nice man who seems to have all of those, qualities that I'm talking about, but something seems to be missing, like he's overly accommodating, he's too nice, that's a whole other beast. You are looking for a man who's secure and has boundaries, who knows who he is, who's a real man and feels masculine to you, but not a man who also is a wimp. Do secure men also not look for the spark? I think that secure men are mature enough not to rush in. They understand that there's a lot of, just like we know, there are plenty of guys who are not good guys, who are just looking for sex, who are players, whatever, who are incredibly immature. I am talking about secure men who are adults, who are mature, who have been down that road and gotten burned and understand that they too want to take their time. When I met my husband, he said to me, I really like you and I really want to get to know you, and I'm not rushing in to anything, including sex. And we waited about, I think, 2.5 or 3 months before there was any sex. We of course kissed and we were intimate. We had physical touch, but we waited, I think, 2.5 or 3 months before we were, we like went all the way, right? Before we had intercourse, because we really wanted to get to know each other. And we also felt like, hey, if this is the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, what's the hurry? We've got our whole lives to be together. Let's enjoy the ride. Let's enjoy this journey. So a man who really is secure and mature, he's going to either say, I really want to get to know you. I'd like to take this slowly. Or if you say, hey, I'm not going to rush intimacy. Would it be okay if we got to know each other and really got to see where this is going? But I'd really like to take it slowly. That man will say, I agree. I would love to take the time to get to know you. In fact, one of the litmus tests for the women in our course, one of the things that we do is the women in our course will often, let a man know that they're not ready to take their profile down and stop dating other people, that it's too soon and that they need to wait a little bit. And it's interesting to see what those men say. So many of the secure men will say, look, do what you need to do. I totally get it. Let's take our time. Let's get to know each other, because they have the confidence that if this woman is the right woman, and they're the right guy for her, that it's only a matter of time before they'll figure it out. And they're not threatened by other men. Like, I asked my husband about that, and he said, I knew I was going to get you. I knew you were dating other guys, and I knew I was going to rise to the top. I had no doubt. And I love that. He gave me the space to do what I needed to do. So secure guys, are really, they're cut from a different cloth. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been Finding the Guardian of Your Soul. If you'd like to learn more about me, please go to lisashield.com. There is a button all over my website to watch my free presentation. If you stay to the end of that presentation, you can book a call with a member of my team to talk to us about how we can help you find the guardian of your soul in 3 to 12 months. We have an extraordinary success rate. So if you're out there bouncing around the dating world and you're just sick and tired of the apps and the dating sites, let us give you a hand. We can turn this around like that and help you find your guy. Time is of the essence. We only get so many years on the planet. And even if you have 40, 50 more years ahead of you, think about it. That's only 40 more birthdays, Christmases, New Year's, Valentine's Days, summer vacations. Why waste even one of them swiping on a dating app when you could be having fun with your guy. So go to lisashield.com. Please send us your ideas for future broadcasts to podcast@lisashield.com. And also send us your comments, your ideas. If you give us a like, a thumbs up, please, rate the podcast. We really want to hear from you. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm Lisa Shield, and this has been such a pleasure. Bye-bye.